I'm Kendall Ratliff. I believe that you can change your life by trying one thing at a time. You can learn more at my website, tryonething.co, or by tuning in to the Help NSFW podcast.
And I'm Johnny Fairplay, reality TV, survivor. And throughout my adventures, I've met a lot of interesting and motivating characters.
Johnny and I made this podcast because we want you to unlock your full fucking potential. So whether you want to get a little more badass or a lot more badass, strap in. Join us here each week. It's Help NSFW. Hi, I'm Kendall Ratliff.
And I'm Johnny Fairplay. And we are joined today for the inaugural breakthrough opening episode of Help NSFW, and joined by the Mountain Ultra Trail superstar. You probably know him from World's Toughest Race and his amazing Speedo and everything that accompanies that, Corey Woltering. How are you today, Corey?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Fantastic. We're really glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So we started off with some technical difficulties. I think we had to try about 3 different things. Does that ever happen to you in your competitions? I'm sure nothing ever goes wrong. Everything always goes to plan. Yeah?
Oh yeah, it always goes to plan. Actually, at my last race, I forgot my bib number in the hotel room, and the hotel was about 35 minutes from the start of the race. So here I am, supposed to be, a pro athlete, and I had to walk up to the race director and be like, "Hey, I forgot my bib number."
I mean, I'm sure there had to be someone with a clipboard that had a list of all the numbers.
Totally. So no, but I actually left the actual bib in the room. So
Did they hand draw one?
No. So luckily, there are a couple people that didn't show up, and so I got to use a different number. But it was just one of those things where it's like, all right, I've had to focus on logistics. I've had to prepare for this, and then I left my bib in the room.
See, that's why they should give you an assistant if you're going to compete with these things, so that you just focus on your quads and your lunges, and someone else makes sure that you have your snacks and your name tag.
And I did have 2 people with me, which is the best part, because we were.
Did they remember their bibs?
No, but it was just so funny because we were so prepared for everything, but nobody thought just to grab the bib before he left the hotel room.
So situations like that, does that bring out the best in you or the worst in you?
Usually the best. Normally I'm just I wasn't even stressed about it. I was it's fine. They're doing wave starts, so if we have to go back to the hotel and get it, I'd just start in a later wave. Everything would be totally fine. But yeah, it's not everything's gonna go as planned always.
How did you finish?
I actually didn't finish that race. So that's not the only thing that went wrong during the day. But I don't know. It's just a really funny start to just what ended up being a really long day.
Fair enough. So what does make you panic? When do you lose your shit and you're not your best Corey?
Super cold weather. I don't like being wet and cold. But even then, it's more just I just shut down. I just stopped talking. I stopped laughing. But other than that, I really lose my shit.
So you could be the only unhappy person in San Francisco.
San Francisco is still warm enough, but I'd get sick of it.
Yeah. But my fastest half marathon time, when it comes to half marathons, I suss out the flattest, warmest possible course ever. That's my go-to. Like Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'm there's one hill that's a 10 feet elevation. I'm okay, we're good. So, but my fastest time ever was a trail run here in Virginia, and it was 25 degrees that day. And it's my fastest half marathon time ever, because I was this is the worst thing I've ever done. And the sooner I'm done is the sooner I'm done. And so that's my fastest half marathon, because I was just like, this is an hour and 45 minutes of misery.
This is terrible, and I hate everything.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
25 degrees. Don't sign up for that race.
So would you ever
I'm from-
challenge yourself? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm from Illinois, so I mean I know all about cold and ice and snow.
All right.
But I don't want to deal with it.
So this is not a thing where you're like, what's the next level of competition for Corey? Like a sub-zero run with spikes on my shoes. That's not a thing on your horizon.
It is just because I would like I do well in just bad conditions, but I don't want to have to do well in bad conditions. But I've heard that there could be, another big adventure race that's going to be taking place in a place that's really cold. So I need to start doing things like that to get ready.
Helpful that we're just heading into summertime.
Yeah, well, hopefully this race doesn't take place for, like another year and a half or two, because like I enjoy summer.
Gotcha. I mean, could you train on a ice skating rink? Just put on your Speedo, for instance, and some soccer cleats, and just try and run.
I mean, there you go. That could be one way to do it.
I'm speaking as a highly qualified personal trainer. No.
Awesome. So a lot of us got to see you for the first time on World's Toughest Race. And I think that you had one of the most compelling stories of the show. For those of you that haven't seen it, head on over to Amazon Prime Video. It is get ready to cry. Grab your Kleenex. I think it's one of the best reality shows of last year. I mean, I loved it from start to finish. Like on The Amazing Race, there's so many situations in which they catch people up, to restart and things. And the World's Toughest Race isn't that. It's just full throttle, and one team, can end up very much ahead, and other teams, they don't even finish. But Corey had an amazing journey in which he competed with Team Onyx, and was that the first ever all black team in the Eco Challenge?
It was, and so that was pretty awesome. And for two of us, that was our first expedition length adventure race.
Wow. So, and it was so cool because they're racing across all of Fiji. I mean, whether it be boat, bike, climbing. I mean, it's the world's toughest race. Like it's not just the name of a show. It is literally the world's toughest race.
Right.
And going through the country of Fiji to see the Fijians, running with them, supporting them, and chanting. And it was, as I said, it was just emotionally one of the. I mean, I've done Survivor, I've done celebrity bull riding, I've done these crazy things. Watching that was just like, oh my God, it is a heart filler. It is so amazing.
So did you feel like the take on competition was different in that show from other competitive events that you've done?
I would say for the top teams, it's still the same. The top teams are there to win, and that's their goal. Whereas for teams like Team Onyx, I mean, it's the first time there's an all black team racing. Some people are racing with family members that watch their parents do an eco challenge back in the 1990s. So there are a lot of different stories that way, which I thought were just super cool. And it was also nice to be part of something where it's once this made it onto TV and just how they kind of edited everything, I just felt really good about it.
That's awesome. Did you know your team before you started?
I had met my teammates once for a 3-day weekend. And other than that, I had never met any of my teammates. So when I agreed to be on the team, I didn't even know who anybody was. They contacted me through Instagram. Nobody on the team knew each other. So that was the really cool thing.
This just fills my mind with so many corporate icebreakers and team building events. What did you do to get to know each other? Were there trust falls?
No, well, not necessarily.
That's probably for the best.
But The first night we were all together, we all flew in to California. Then we went out to dinner. So it's just kind of funny having, like one teammate sitting there at the table, then like the next one finally shows up, then somebody else shows up. And so that went on until all five of us were there. But then the next morning, our first activity was rock climbing and learning the rope skills that we needed for this race. So there wasn't necessarily a trust fall per se, but there's a lot of falling and a lot of trust.
A lot of chances to break trust. I would think starting with that dinner, did one of you pick that or did the producer set that part up?
Our team captain picked that. And so it was just really funny because like we all flew in probably I'd say within 2 hours of each other. So it's just like, great. We're sitting there and it's like, oh, there's another person. Oh, there's another person.
I'm imagining a 5-way like Tinder first date. Like, I'm looking for this. Let me look at the Instagram pic. I think that's him. Yeah. Oh, you look real different from your picture. Huh.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
So, after the world's toughest race, this thing goes to Amazon Prime Video, and you get some notoriety from that. I mean, like, you're a mountain ultra trail superstar, but this takes it to another level, and I got a chance to talk with you, just talking world's toughest race. And your social media is exploding during this time, and you have people coming on both sides, whether support or the exact opposite. What was that whole experience like? I mean, like the world's toughest race is its own animal, but this is a life unto its own. This whole social media interaction. You have people that love you, and conversely, you have people that hate you.
Yeah, I love that because if you're not pissing somebody off, then you're not doing something right. So for me, like it was kind of this evolution of I had just finished the Ice Age Trail in Wisconsin, which was 1,147 miles, and set the record on that in 21 days. And so I got like a bunch of attention from doing that. And then that carried over into the promo stuff for Eco Challenge coming out. And then it was finally on TV. So I went from having like 1,500 followers when I started the Ice Age Trail to finishing like Eco Challenge coming out. And then I think I had like 15 or 16,000 over the course of like a 2-month period. And so that for me was wild. But honestly, it's been great. Just because like having that platform to get a message out there has been so amazing. And with that, yeah, you do get the haters, but I mean, I still get messages probably one every other day at this point, which is funny because it's almost a year later. And it's still like someone's like watching the show for the first time and they're like, I just don't like you. And okay, like just all kinds of things. But it's that's totally fine with me.
I was expecting a different end to the message once a day. Like, you're inspiring. Like, now I know that I can be a competitor too. Okay, well, I'm glad that people are taking their time to say, I don't like this thing. What a good use of their time. But you are an inspiration.
Yeah, well, thank you. And like honestly, for every like message I get from someone that doesn't like me, there's probably 2 messages I get that someone's like, "Thank you for doing what you're doing." Whether it's an actual like the person or like a family that's been watching it, and one of the parents reaches out and is like, "Hey, my kids were super inspired by what you've been doing," and stuff like that. So I mean, it really has been awesome.
What is important for you to get out there? Like, now that you have this platform, this large audience, what drives you? What change do you want to see in the world?
Yeah, I just want to see more people of color and the LGBTQ plus community in stores. Like, it's something that we haven't really seen, a lot of. And so it doesn't have to be something like doing, the world's toughest race. Like, for me, it's more about like, just go explore your local parks, go explore, a new trail system that
Mhm.
might be close to home. Like, you also don't have to go out and
Mhm.
run the full Ice Age trail that's 1,200 miles, just start small, just get out there, be active, be seen, be heard, like, enjoy the outdoors.
That is so important because the outdoor community has had some really exclusionary practices and culture against people of color and Black people. So I like you being sponsored by the North Face, for instance. That's so great.
Yes, absolutely. I don't think that like most people realize that, people like my grandparents' age, they wouldn't have been able to go visit, say, national parks. And so it's just like, it seems like, that it was so long ago, but yet it really wasn't that long ago. Like, my grandparents wouldn't have been able to go visit national parks. So, yeah, I mean, it's wild, but I mean, at least things are starting to change.
Yeah, and if you look at the founding of some of the big conservation groups, the founders were white people who were wanting to conserve nature that white people were starting to destroy. Native Americans had been conserving nature, and it was when the white middle class started tromping everywhere that like, oh well, we're starting to break shit. It's NSFW, we can
Yeah.
say shit. We're starting to break shit, so now we need to conserve shit. And I mean, it started white, and that industry has really stayed white for a long time. And then yeah, segregation.
Yeah. But like, luckily, there are many great companies out there now that are really trying to change that. And, there are some companies that are like, hey, we'll sponsor, a person of color or whatever, to be like, hey, we have a person of color. Then there are other companies that are actually like putting their money where their mouth is and actually like trying to make changes and trying to actually do the right thing. And so I think that's really awesome. And I mean, it's been a hot topic for the last couple of years now. But it's
Mhm.
really fun to see some of these changes.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any companies that you're a big fan of that are doing that you like the
Well,
practices that they're putting into place?
well, the North Face, because I'm sponsored by them, but honestly,
Yeah.
like they really are trying to change the industry, and we have a couple fun programs that are rolling out soon that I can't necessarily give all the details away, but I'm really, really, really excited for them.
Well, so if we're following you on social media, are we going to find out when that stuff's public?
Yes, you will.
Sweet. So, how did you end up getting sponsored by North Face?
Yeah. So, a magazine wanted to do like this article about what it's like being a Black and gay trail runner. And as like, this story has already been covered like 3 times now, is like, what I really want to talk to you guys about is the lack of sponsorship for athletes in the Midwest. And they're just like, oh, we've never really thought about this. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, I'm kind of hijacking your story now, but here we go. So I was like, hey, like, trail running has, like, in the Midwest, we have, I think, 3 of like the top 15 oldest 100-mile races in the country. We have a lot of great athletes that have come out of the Midwest. We have a lot of great athletes living here. But you look at all the sponsored athletes, and everyone's always out west. And so you may have a couple on the East Coast, but everybody is out west. And so I was just like, hey, like, look at us, like, we are here. Because at that time, I had still run the second fastest trail 50-mile time that had ever been run in North America, and like couldn't pick up sponsors.
Mhm.
And so it was just really funny because the North Face saw it, and they sent me a message through social media, and they emailed me and all this stuff, and I saw it and was just like, oh, the North Face, like, this must be spam, like, they're not actually contacting me. So like, I deleted
It's not.
it. And so then like 2 days later they messaged me again, and I was like, oh, okay, like, whatever, I'll entertain this person and I'll respond to this message. So I responded, and I was like, if this is true, like, call me on this day at this time. And they called. And so then it's like, oh, okay, like this is actually real. And now this is what, my third year on the team, I guess.
That's fantastic. So what else are we missing about the Midwest?
Well, it's humid and hot in the summer. So, yeah, there's that. But we do have the best cheese curds. Wisconsin has the best cheese curds. And, yeah, I don't know. It's a very friendly place it's a very friendly place to be.
Yeah.
So since this newer fame, have you had the opportunity, in spite of COVID and the quarantine and everything, to work with some of the youth out there to get them involved in starting, like, trail running, or just outside fitness, or has that kind of been halted, with 2020 as we know it?
Unfortunately, a lot of that has been halted with 2020, and now that things are opening up more, I'm very excited for some of these programs that we're going to be able to start up. Because like Team Onyx, for example, like we wanted to do youth adventure racing camps, but also branch out into youth trail camps. The North Face, I know, has a couple things in place for us. Hopefully soon. And yeah, I'm very excited for it.
So is
Yeah, I
is
bet.
is that something that, like, like, you love the racing competition aspect of it, but having these doors opened on the other side, is it just as exciting?
Absolutely. Like I love the mentorship side of things. Like that's actually just, what I'm really passionate about. And I'm also coaching a few athletes, like not necessarily older athletes, but just ultra runners, trail runners, and I really enjoy that as well. But I am very passionate about, like getting more youth into the sport. Because like, for example, like for me, like I didn't even know what trail running was until like 7 years ago or something.
Oh,
Like it
wow.
was never that I had even heard of growing up. And
Mhm.
I didn't know that anybody even did that. And so I remember watching like some of the old eco challenges, back when I was younger, and I was just like, oh, those people are absolutely nuts. Like I would never do anything like that. But I also
Wow.
had no even like how to get into the sport or like how you'd even start something like that.
So what was the leap? How did, because you grew up doing sports, right? When you were younger, you did soccer, track. How did you make the leap from those standard, they're available in any school sports, to something like trail running that you hadn't heard of?
Yeah. So in college, I mean, I did grow up, all through junior high, high school, college running, but also had a swimming background. And so in college, I was injured quite a bit. So the next logical step for me was to buy a bike. And with that, I became a triathlete. And, just had some success there. I've been to 2 world championships for the half Ironman, and moved to Boulder. I was like, hey, I kind of become a professional athlete, and started hanging out with a bunch of trail runners, and quickly realized that trail is more my passion than anything on the road.
So you kind of just went step by step. You kept doing different things when something closed, or it sounds like maybe you were just really curious.
A
I don't
lot
know.
of
I'm just always interested in people's journey into to getting where they are.
Oh yeah, a lot of curiosity. It was like kind of one door is kind of closing, and the mix of
Mhm.
curiosity.
Mhm.
And so like that's how I ran my first marathon, then I ran my first 50K, and then from there is like 50 miles, 100K, 100 miles, and then
Mhm.
last year with COVID, I went for the Ice Age Trail because I was just bored from sitting at home.
Is that the one that you did 5 hours or 5 days faster than anyone had done before?
No, that was 5 hours faster than yeah, but I mean that was 5 hours after.
A lot of time.
But I mean, 5 hours after being out there for 21 days is not that long. Like that's if I'd slept in just 30 minutes a day for 10 days, like that, then the record wouldn't be there.
Okay, sure. It's so simple when you say it like that. I just know how hard it is for me to shave 30 minutes off of a road trip, but I've never taken a 21-day road trip, so fine, fair enough. It's super easy peasy.
I don't think it is easy, Kendall.
No, I don't think it is either. I ran for 2 minutes yesterday. They weren't concurrent. So how do you set your goals? And do you what happens when you don't meet them?
Micro goals. I mean, to take something that's almost 1,200 miles, like you can't think of it as 1,200 miles. You just have to think of it as, I have this 10-mile stretch to get done, and then I have another 10-mile stretch, or however long the segment breaks it down. And then it's like, I basically look at what previous record holders have done and just say, I want to be at that spot or ahead of that when I finish my day. If I'm not, you can't sweat it. Don't worry about it. You can always make time up later, hopefully. And yeah, but sometimes things don't work out, and that's totally fine. You can't set records on everything, although I am 3 for 3 on my fastest known times.
So far you're proving that you can, but so that attitude that you have where you're letting it go if it doesn't work out and you're like, okay, let's just move on. Did you have to cultivate that attitude, or is this something that everyone in the Midwest gets?
I would say I had to create that, just because, like growing up in track and field and cross country and triathlon, like everything is so straightforward. It's like you're on the track. This is what you're trying to do. Like, what the qualifying time for nationals is or state or whatever. Whereas when you get into something like trail, when you're racing, for example, it's just like it's whoever is fastest to the finish. And it's like you're not necessarily trying to qualify for a state meet or a national meet. It's like you're just trying to win, which is a kind of different mindset than what I had growing up. And then on these FKTs and stuff like that, it's more, there's so many variables when you're out there for, 5 days or 21 days that things aren't going to go correctly all the time. Like more times than not, like there's going to be a lot of stuff that goes wrong. And so you really just have to be okay with that and be fine with problem solving on the go.
Yeah, it definitely seems like once you're getting into nature, you've got to be willing to let go of some control.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What did you have a support system during your elementary, junior high, high school running? What was your family behind you, or was it more of a kind of a coach took you under? What was?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my parents and family, they're very supportive of just athletic stuff, but like also like academically and music and stuff. It's like I had to still get good grades to be able to do the sports I wanted to do. And I mean, I played the clarinet and the saxophone for 12 years, I guess. And so like I did a lot of different things, and I think that's kind of what created the drive. But I've always had, people that were like, yeah, you can do this, but if you're going to do it, like do it well.
Gotcha. So you're married to a man who is also rather adventurous and outdoorsy.
Yeah, he's a skydiver.
So did you all meet as both outdoorsy people, or did you take a couch potato and I'm sorry, I'm projecting. I need you to settle a bet with a friend. Is it better if you're an outdoor hardcore person to meet another person like that, or can you date a normal person and turn them into an outdoor enthusiast?
I would say, I don't know. Do you want to turn them into an outdoor enthusiast, or do you have to? I mean, that's totally fine if they're not.
I mean, I agree. So what you're just telling me is that I'm right and my friend is dumb. Just kidding, Matt. I love you. So the skydiving is what is that about? Do you ever go skydiving with him? Is there tandem skydiving, or only if you're in the military? I need to know more.
And I have actually never gone because the skydiving season is so short in the Midwest. Like, if you really want to go and enjoy it, that I'm normally racing somewhere else or just training somewhere else. It's like actually gone.
I didn't know there was a season for it. Does it just get too hot and like the parachute gets sun holes?
No, but like, who wants to jump out of an airplane when it's 20 degrees outside? Like, I don't even want to be out 20 degrees outside.
Good point.
And so where he skydives, it's probably I wouldn't go after October, and I wouldn't go before like May.
So, are you scared of heights and you just you're using this as an excuse? No.
Good question.
No, I'm totally fine with that. I just haven't gone.
I would be scared of rolling my ankle. I mean, like y- your joints and your bones and stuff matter a lot because you use them to run. So
That's his bread and butter.
yeah, exactly.
Very
Or because it's the Midwest, that's his corn and
corn and butter.
yeah, corn and which is also a really good combination.
Well, my people call it maize.
Stupid. Weird. So how did you meet your husband?
We're both from the same town. Like,
How long
Yeah.
did you know each other before you got together?
A while. I mean, July we'll be married 5 years, so we've known each other for 9.
Wow.
So pretty much all of Pride Month is the build up to celebrating the what is your hashtag? Cornfield Cowboys?
Yep.
All of June Pride Month is the build up to celebrating the marriage of the Cornfield Cowboys. That's my narrative now.
Perfect. Love it. Yeah.
Or y'all, yeah.
I'm super excited though. It's only a few days away from Pride Month.
What are your plans? What are you gonna do?
Well, for the first like 2 weeks of Pride, I actually have commitments that I won't really get to do that much. But the good news is that we're going to New York City for Pride. So I've actually never been to New York City, so I'm like thrilled for this.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I happened by complete accident. My friend and I were driving through Northern California. We flew into San Francisco and we landed in San Francisco on Pride Day. And we were like, oh, well, then I guess we need to change our plans and go to Pride because we're in San Francisco. It was the luckiest accident.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be fun.
So speaking of Pride Month, we like to do a thing on the show, and we have a call to action for our viewers and listeners. And we ask our guests if there's a particular charity or cause that they're
Yeah.
looking to support. And well, it being Pride Month, I think our first guest has an amazing charity that you can tell us a little bit about and kind of steer our viewers and listeners in that direction.
Yeah, so the Trevor Project would be an awesome one. It just basically supports, the LGBTQ plus youth, and yeah, I mean, which is awesome because honestly, it's like there are not a lot of charities and organizations that really do that, and so I think that really helps with like people trying to come out, or if they need resources after they do come out, maybe get kicked out of their house, and just gives them a place to know that they're going to be okay.
Absolutely. And if you haven't, listeners, if you haven't followed Trevor Project on Instagram, you've got to do it. They're so positive. They have beautiful artwork. And especially if you know anyone in your life that is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or exploring their gender or sexuality, it is just such a positive group and movement. And I think gives a lot of really good talking points and just it's a very positive spin on the fact that we are all as humans so diverse and different.
And be sure to check the show notes, whether you're watching on YouTube or enjoying us audibly, through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you podcast. In the show notes, there'll be a link
Yes, exactly.
to go and donate.
So because you're an athlete and a competitor, what do you want the challenge to be for this call to action? Do you want people to follow Trevor Project, give $5, at them in a letter to their senator? Make it specific. Let's have a challenge.
Oh boy. Yeah, I think it'd be fun if we could get people to commit to 30 minutes of exercise and just a $5 donation.
Sweet.
I'm in.
That's all right. 30 minutes of exercise and a $5 donation. I'm gonna at you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, tag me in
30
it.
minutes. Sorry, say it again.
Yeah, tag me in it and I'll reshare it to my Instagram. So yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
Johnny and I are gonna get it started.
Perfect.
I'm stoked.
That's fantastic. I can exercise for 30 minutes
Yeah.
in air conditioning. No, I do it outside sometimes too, in the shade.
I run every day. I run like I'm not Corey. I run 3 to 10 miles about every day.
Great.
So yesterday was 93 degrees, Corey. So I apologize. I did not get like I ran about ran 3/4 of a mile, and I'm like, it's 93 degrees, and I turn around. But I did have my second fastest 1 to 2 miles I've ever had in my life because I never run less than 2 miles.
Way to go.
So, but yeah.
So let's get some direct advice from you. If someone is interested in doing more with their sport, like give us some advice on upping your game.
Yeah, one of the big things that I always tell people is you can do anything for 10 seconds at a time. So whether you're, trying to run your fastest 5K, trying to run 100 miles, or maybe you're just going through a really like rough patch in like a soccer game or a tennis match or whatever, it's like, slow it down for a second, focus on the task at hand, and, just focus on the next 10 seconds. And then from there, you'll have a good 10 seconds. Then you build on that and continue to do that. So like, that's how I like to break everything down. But that's like one of the biggest things in the mental game. It's just like, if you can have a strong mental game, then like the physical game will be there.
That's awesome. That makes sense. Like trick yourself with 10 seconds.
I love it.
And eventually you'll be like, why am I fucking lying to myself? It's many 10 seconds, but then you're in the middle of the race and you have to just keep going. So
yeah, once you're halfway, you got
might as well go forward.
might as well. Well, you got to get back.
Okay, it's true. Where you parked. All right, give us your advice on perfectionism. How do you let go of that?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I've ever tried to be perfect.
Oh, that's great. See, that's a question that I'm projecting. So good. That's awesome.
No, it's one of those things where it's like, say in a training block or something, I'm usually not worried about missing a run here or there.
All right.
There's no single run or workout or activity that you can do that's going to ensure that you have, the perfect race. Because like the perfect race may be out there, but I think everyone's still going to be able to like pick at something. So just, take the fitness you have and use that to the best of your ability. And I mean, I guess that's kind of the definition of the perfect race. But yeah, don't stress over a missed workout. Don't stress over, eating that extra cheeseburger. Like it's all good.
There are a lot of people that don't want to go to the gym or they don't want to take that first walk because, oh, my body's not great yet. I'm too fat to work out, or I don't have the right clothes. I don't have the fabletics. What would you say to them and their worries?
10 seconds at a time. I mean, we don't always want to go to the gym either. And, it's all good. Like no one's going to judge you for trying to better yourself.
Fantastic. And what would you say to a young gay person and struggling with their identity?
Life is usually a lot better once you do come out and just like be your true self. Because I was 25, almost 26, because I was worried about like sponsorships and, just like coming from the Midwest is like, oh, what will people think and all this stuff. And honestly, like it wasn't like sponsors didn't care. Like sponsors were like, great, like that's awesome. You're a great athlete. Like most of my friends and family were like, we already knew that. Like we were just waiting.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And so, it's just one of those things where I think to us it seems like it's a lot bigger deal than it might actually be.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Wow.
And actually, can you show us your nails? Because it looks like they're really amazing.
Oh yeah,
Those are beautiful.
Woo.
Oh, and you've got the middle accent nail. That's very nice.
Yep.
Does that help you run faster? Because I'm willing to try anything.
It depends. I mean, if you look good, you feel good, you'll run good. So
I do agree with that. There is something to like putting on a uniform, whatever uniform means to you. Like I've got my get shit done uniform and I've got my relax way down uniform. So you've got your running uniform, which includes your nails.
So speaking of uniforms, when I run, I'm all about like I'm kind of vain, shockingly,
Mm.
and so my main inspiration for running is I love warm weather. I like the sun out, so I'm wearing some short shorts and my shoes, and that's
Mhm.
it.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm still not Corey level. Corey, please explain the origins of the Speedo.
Yeah, so the Speedo is actually really funny because I was in Florida for a race and I was like, oh, well, I'm going to be going to the beach afterwards. Of course, I have to pack Speedos. Like, here we go. And in the process, I guess I just didn't pack my running shorts. So I'm there at the race and it's like, oh, what am I going to wear? And it's like, they're like, it's Florida, just wear a Speedo. It's okay. So I wore a Speedo and a crop top and I won the race. And then everyone started calling me Speedo Man. So now I run a Speedo and a crop top.
Is chafing not an issue?
I use squirrel's nut butter for that. So just put that on. It's anti-chafe stuff and you're good.
Oh, sweet. I've been using deodorant. I didn't know nut butter was an option.
I don't know if you sure were using
Squirrel-
nut butter.
Well, I assume it's derived from peanuts.
I- Is it derived from peanuts, or are we, or am I right on this one?
No, so squirrel's nut butter actually comes from cocoa butter.
Okay, so
So
yeah,
we're both wrong dummies.
no, I think I'm closer to the to the origin for why it's called nut butter.
But it's made in not Flagstaff, Illinois, Flagstaff, Arizona. And yeah, they just make a great product, better than like Body Glide or something.
All right, sweet. Nut butter. I'm going to use nut butter.
I'm on it.
It's for me.
Well, it's, I would you like to share some?
Great. We'll split the two. Corey, this has been fantastic. Where can people keep up with you?
Instagram at Corey Woltering on Instagram.
And that's Corey 2 E's.
Yep.
And we are really looking forward to people tagging you in their challenge that you've given, 30 minutes of exercise. And y'all start small, one step at a time. Don't give yourself super high expectations. Don't be perfectionistic. 10 seconds at a time. Do your 30 minutes of exercise and $5 donation to the Trevor Project. I'm excited about this.
I'm for it.
Yeah.
Corey,
Perfect.
thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. This is
awesome. Thank you.
This is how we wanted to start this. I couldn't think of anyone better. I think you're such an amazing person, and I'm so thankful for you sharing your time with us.
Thank you for your energy.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
And for the record, we are not professionals.
I'm not getting paid for this.
Well, we're not doctors. We're not.
Oh, no,
yeah.
we're not doctors. We haven't dispensed any medical advice. We're not your doctor, and we're not your psychologist. So take everything we say with a grain of salt, especially if you've been on a long run.
Yeah, but do it.
But do it.
Yeah.
And consult with your own doctor.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Corey, thank you so much. And everybody, click that subscribe button. We can't wait to see you each and every week here at helpnsfw.com.
Awesome. Thanks, Corey. See y'all later.